Hello, hello. Welcome back to What Businesses Need to Know Right Now. I'm Nettie Owens, your host. It's been a little while since we've had an interview, and I am so excited to start the new year off with Marnie Lumpkin. Glad to have you with us, Marnie. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Nettie. I'm super excited too to start the new year off right and get some momentum going.
I do love that word momentum. So absolutely, I want to give you a moment for me to introduce you to our listeners here, and then you can fill in any blanks that I might miss. But Marnie, you've been doing this support role for a little while. I was so excited in seeing your background that you've been a paraeducator, you've been supportive of people with different needs, and now you support business owners in the same way in helping them run their businesses so that they can focus on the important stuff of growing their business. You've been doing this for about almost 7 years, 6.5, 7 years, as the president and co-owner, I would assume founder of Strategic Management and Logistics. So welcome. And you're coming to us out of Virginia, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. I'm really glad to have you here. So tell us a little bit about who you support and why.
Absolutely. Basically, strategic management and logistics, as you mentioned, we've been in business since 2017. We are a very personal virtual support company. Basically, your business is our business. That's the way we feel about it. We offer only US based virtual assistant services. That's just our model. I know others, have different models. And we offer services to entrepreneurs, small businesses, and any other professionals. We specialize in executive assistance, bookkeeping, human resources, social media, project management, event and meeting support, and a few more very targeted areas. But we're women and minority owned, and we are in Stafford, Virginia. And I think what's unique about SML is that we also offer support on a long term, short term, or even intermittent basis. So we try to be as flexible as possible for whatever someone may need us for. I started off in 2017 with just myself running it, and we quickly grew. More and more people were interested, which was amazing. And now, currently, we have about 32 clients, and I have 8 different subcontractors who work with me to support all of our client needs.
Excellent. That's absolutely wonderful. And the work that you do is so important. And probably a little like to say underappreciated or under recognized about how important it is that you have this kind of support in your business, especially as a smaller company. Um, you you put on the questions I should ask you. I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit for our listeners. I always ask the guests that are on this interview series to tell me what questions they want me to ask them. And the first question you started with was, "What's the value of a virtual assistant?" And um, I think this is an important question to address because I know I've heard kind of two sides of this story. Either I'm not big enough, I can't afford a virtual assistant, or we already have a team or we have in-house people, and why would I want to bring on a virtual assistant? So maybe if you can, talk about the value, but sort of thinking about those two ends of that spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest challenge sometimes is just letting go of
Mhm.
tasks that you may need assistance with, because it is. I mean, it was very hard for me, even, myself, to bring more people on originally because, these clients are my babies. I've worked
Right.
hard to develop these relationships and to gain their trust. And, it's very important to hand it off to another trustworthy individual who loves that client's business just as much as you do.
Mhm.
And so I absolutely understand it from a business owner's perspective. I think what's essential about it is that it really helps your productivity, your bottom line, and ultimately your peace of mind at the end of the day. And when people have their own support staff already in place, or you're absolutely right, maybe they are too small, maybe they don't have the financial bandwidth at the time. I understand that.
Mhm.
And I think that, again, that's one of the attractive things about SML is that we don't require, that you bring us on, and we have to have 20 hours of work a month, and all these minimums and mandatory things around the contract. We are just there to help whenever you need us, and it could be
Mhm.
an hour a month or 2 hours a quarter, 30 hours a week. We are absolutely flexible with that. In a way, I think it helps break down a wall between a business owner and maybe what they may consider busy work. It's essential for their business, but they'd
Mhm.
obviously want to focus on other items. And that's a way for us to kind of smooth out the rough areas and the workflows and fill in just those little gaps that you may need to scale up at the time.
Absolutely. I'm curious what you find is kind of the best starter place. If somebody has, let's say somebody has never used a virtual assistant in their company, do you find that there's a logical beginning point for working with a virtual assistant?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing is to really meet with that individual and virtually, that may be over Zoom, Google Meets, in order to get a true understanding of how you can assist them.
Hmm.
I personally am not a fan of just saying you can assist someone and you're trying to figure it out on the back end. I feel like you need to have that expertise right up front because they need help right away. And
Hmm.
need someone they can trust and that will be able to execute things efficiently and execute it well.
Hmm.
So that's definitely a huge priority for me. The other one is absolutely also making not just a skill match, but a personality match with
Mm.
the business owner.
Right.
I have different personalities on my team
Hmm.
with different skill sets, and that is always top of mind for me. And that I also that's built into our process that the client and the individual I've selected, they have a meeting time
Hmm.
just to make sure that everything is going to go well, everything's in line, and then we are off to the races to support them.
So the name of the show is What Businesses Need to Know Right Now. And I'm curious for you, as we're starting 2023, what might be new or different in the world of virtual assisting that business owners should be aware of coming into perhaps working with one or, just sort of what's on the horizon in this realm?
Absolutely. One of the things I would first say is you want to look for specific qualities when you're hiring a virtual assistant, and they could run the gambit. Everyone
Mhm.
is different when they're hiring an individual, but for me, these are my top few and ones that SML absolutely prides themselves on in order to work with our various clients. You want to be honest, reliable, attention to detail, working efficiently,
Mhm.
accurate billing and detailed billing, ability to multitask. They're up for a challenge, good at time management, good at the support areas you're looking for. And the final one I would throw in would be kindness.
Mhm.
You are walking into another person's team, another person's business, and you need, as a virtual assistant, you need to have an understanding and a respect for that and really get to know that client in order to have an even deeper level relationship.
Mhm. Awesome. So certainly, that person who is providing the virtual organizing services really needs to be strong on those qualities. And for a business owner looking for somebody that fits those qualities as well, that you don't skimp on that vetting process and making sure that they're a good match all around. I kind of get the sense that the market may have been flooded a little bit with people who are trying out this profession and maybe they didn't quite understand what it takes.
Mhm.
But I'm wondering, is there sort of a righting of the ship at this point, or do you still feel like lots of people are sort of coming into this to test the waters?
I feel like there is a little bit of the writing of the ship this upcoming year,
Hmm.
only because I think people have become more and more knowledgeable about what it really takes.
Hmm.
It's not just, oh, I'm a virtual assistant today and here's my business.
Hmm.
There's a lot of infrastructure that you're building in. We have a lot of processes, procedures, confidentiality forms, secure platforms. There's a lot of items you need to consider as a
Hmm.
virtual assistant before you can even start. And I believe that at this time, I think people are a little more informed going forward.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Any last minute, last words you'd like to share with us?
Um, I think the only other things I want to mention just briefly is, to when you're if you are going to work with a virtual assistant, there's just a few key items that I would personally recommend over my years
Mhm.
of experience to really be efficient. One is communication is a must, not just from the business owner side, but from the virtual assistant. There needs to be that communication and trust there in order to make it happen. Um,
Mhm.
Another item would be the ability to share information and know that it's secure and that it's accurate information. And
Mhm.
if you have that relationship there, you will feel comfortable enough to share back and forth. Um, and the only other one I would probably say would be, sometimes it's hard to start with a virtual assistant because you're handing off tasks and you may try it for a few weeks and say, this isn't working for me. I'm
Mhm.
done. There are certainly situations where absolutely, as a business owner, perhaps it's not the right individual for you.
Yeah.
But you maybe want to stick with it a little bit, just to try to gain a little bit of momentum, and that's the responsibility on both sides for sure. And I
Mhm.
think if you can't, then it is time to move on. But you maybe want to put a little more, add a little extra time in there.
Mhm.
And the other advantage would be, as is with SML, if your virtual assistant maybe isn't that individual for you, we have other people on the staff who may be a better fit, and
Definitely
you
a
find
win
it
to
as
work
you
with
move
an
along.
agency versus an
Hmm.
individual. Oh, there's a lot that's taken care of in the agency model that then you don't have to worry about.
Hmm.
Wow. Thank you so much, Marnie. I found this really interesting myself. I've worked with virtual assistants for many, many years, and I really appreciate that qualities list. I think there's a good reminder to not lower the bar. It's important to have somebody that's going to be a good fit and can do the work in your company that you need done. If people would like to reach out to you, they have questions, they are considering bringing somebody on, or they'd like to talk to you about that, what's the best way to connect with you?
Absolutely. I am on LinkedIn. If you would like to connect with me there, my website is strategicmanagementandlogistics.com. And of course, my email is marnie@vasml.com. And as a virtual assistant, as everyone knows, I am never out of reach. I am always available to answer questions and to assist, as is my staff. So feel free to contact me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. For those of you who are listening, if you've been listening to our show before, or if this is the first time, I would invite you first reach out to Marnie, give her a shout out, see if there's any ways that you can work together, or if she can answer any questions for you, which I'm sure she can. And for those of you who may be catching us for the first time, I would invite you to text the word freedom to 411321. What this will provide to you is a guide on how to succeed for business. We really look at that transition between you being the business founder to you becoming the CEO of your company. And this guide is designed to help you with that. So just bring up your cell phone, type in 411321. For our international members, you're going to use WhatsApp to provide that code, and then type in freedom as your message, and it'll hook you up with that guide. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to more conversations with you, Marnie. Take care.
Thank you so much, Nettie. Thank you.